The More Movement Crew.
Welcome to the More Movement Crew podcast. I'm your host, Kenina Porter, and I'm back. So I hadn't done a podcast in a really long time, but I thought to myself, I think it's time to at least do a podcast just to talk about where I am and what's going on. So I definitely want to answer the question why I bought a house in a pandemic. That is something that is sounds crazy, but there's obviously a reason for everything that happens. And so I'm going to share a little bit about why I bought a house, and then just a little bit about what the More Movement Crew is up to, what we got coming up next, and then just a message of encouragement. I always like to leave you guys with something that will encourage you as we face all of the things that are coming against us, all the barriers and obstacles that are keeping us from really doing the things that we are supposed to do, right? Or even all the things that are really clouding our minds and keeping us kind of in a place where we are battling, right? There's this mental battle, there's a spiritual battle, but there's a mental battle and a war as well. And so just some encouragement as you progress and move throughout your day and throughout your week. So I want to also let you know that at the end of this episode, there is going to be a reaction video. So for those of you listening on iTunes or Spotify, you will want to hop on over to our YouTube channel and see the reaction video. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously you're going to see it right after the end of this message, but definitely want to stick around or hop on over to the YouTube channel to see my parents' reaction video when they actually saw my house for the first time. So I bought a house without anybody else seeing it but me and my realtor. And so didn't get anybody else's opinion. It was just me, my realtor, and of course God, as I decided to purchase this home. So anyways, I've done enough with the intro. Let's get right into it. So why I bought a house. I work from home. And so that when the pandemic hit, that was a transition, but it wasn't really difficult transition because I had already kind of worked. I was kind of like a mobile kind of person. I'd work in the schools and I would come home and I would do some work here. I would work at a coffee shop. So the transition wasn't that difficult for me. But knowing that I was going to be in the house, I just wanted to do a couple of things to create just this level of productivity as I stayed in the house, during this pandemic. And so one thing I wanted to do was I wanted to organize. So I started organizing things. I started getting rid of things. And I just wanted my living space to be comfortable, right? So I created a little office in my room and I just roll with it. I continue to do more Movement Crew stuff. I did work stuff, but it was all in one space in my room. And so then I started to want to try and learn new things. So I wanted to grow some vegetables. As you know, if you've seen any of the episodes from earlier this season, I share why I became a vegan. So I've been cooking more and learning new recipes and just kind of accumulating spices and all of these things, cookware. And so with that love also made me want to try and start a garden. And so if you're in an apartment, you're really not going to be able to start like a full garden where you're growing like vegetables and all those things. But in my attempt to create a garden, I kind of did the apartment size version of a garden. And so then I started to fall in love with the experience, with the process. But I realized that I was running out of space. And so as I was developing these new things I wanted to learn and these new skills and new passion, it was limiting me. I was limited in my space, right? In the capacity to be able to branch out, to be able to paint things, bring in new things in the house or the apartment. And so I felt confined. I felt restricted. And so I laid in bed one night and I was thinking I may need to think about buying a home, right? And so I contacted a friend of mine, Q, and I just reached out to him. He's a realtor, and I said, hey, I'm interested in looking for a home. Can you just take me to look for some houses? And he was like, cool. We can go check out some houses and see, if you find something you like. And I was really grateful, let me just say that, about the way that he allowed me to kind of browse, right? Without saying like, okay, you got to sign this paperwork, you got to make a commitment, da, da, da. He was just like, we'll go look at some houses, no pressure. If you find something you like, that's great. But thank you for the business, right? So we started looking for houses, and I started to get excited. I started to get excited about the possibility of me being able to have all the things that I wanted in a home. So I wanted, a space, a decent backyard for the garden that I want to do. I want, landscaping. I want extra bedroom for my office. And like, it was just so many things. I wanted a really big open kitchen. So, because I do a lot of cooking now. So as I grow as a woman, my needs are changing and I am evolving. And so some of the things that I would have wanted before in a home have completely changed. A couple of years ago, I probably would have said, just give me a condo. I don't want to cut no grass. I don't want to deal with no nature, and give me a decent kitchen and I'm good to go, right? But now I think I've just kind of grown into a different interests, and I think that that's important as you get older, that happens, right? Develop new love and new passions. So anyways, so then we started to look for homes, and I started to get really excited. And every time I would be interested in a home, the market in Louisville is insane, right? So interest rates are like super low at this time. So people are in the market, and so it's flooded, right? And so every time I would look at a house, in a matter of hours, or at least a matter of days, the home would be off the market, under contract, pending something. And so I was starting to become increasingly frustrated with the process. And I was like, I'm not even getting a chance here. How am I going to get a home? And so I remember talking to my realtor, and I was like, we got to go in the morning. We can't wait till the afternoon to go look at these houses, because I'm going to miss my opportunity, right? So I found this home, the home I'm currently in, and I pulled up like 9 something in the morning, and I was like, this is my new house. This is my house. I just felt it. And so when we walked in, I just fell in love. I fell in love with the wall color. I fell in love with the great use of space, the character of the home, and how it's older, but it has like such it's so unique in the way that they've created spaces and utilized the space. And I just loved it. It had everything I wanted and more. And I was like, this is my house. And so we put an offer in, and I prayed, and I was like, God, if this is my house, then it's going to be my house. And if somebody else gets it, then it's not for me. But I think this is my house, right? So, I was a little stressed for 3 days, but I still kept the same mindset. I was like, God, if this is for me, if this is my house, then it will be. And so 3 days later, I get a call, and the realtor says that he accepted my offer. And I was so excited, and I was nervous at the same time, but I was really excited about the process. And so, that's just basically how I got to the point where I was going to buy a house. And so this was something I think it's important for me to emphasize that this was not something that I decided, hey, I'm going to buy a house and I'm going to just do what I want to do. This was I think that God is telling me to branch out and expand, but I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to take it slow. And if he opens a door, then that's the direction that I should go into. That is the approach that I took when I bought this house. And so he blessed me beyond more than I could ever imagine. And I don't want you to listen to this and think, oh, she found the perfect house. She moved in. Everything worked out. It was a perfect fairy tale. And she just has the best life ever. That's not really the case at all, right? God is good. He blessed me with this house. But there were a lot of things that I had to deal with, right? I had to deal with the external things of preparing for the house, the financial things that I didn't have before when living in an apartment with a roommate. and the internal things like, is this too much? Am I making the right decision? I'm living alone. And, I had my brother there, and it was this comfort and security with him being there. And so there was some internal battles that took place the whole entire time that before closing happened. And so, those things I'm still working through. I'm still trusting that this is the right move for me. I've always said that I wouldn't live or buy another house in Kentucky, right, in Louisville, or on my own, right? I would want to have a family, but life doesn't always go as you think, right, as you plan. When I sold my house in 2019, I wanted a break. I was like, I don't want to be a homeowner. I'm going to chill. I'm going to save my money. And that is not the plan that God had for me. And so I had to go with it. I have to go with it. I have to trust that, there is no fairy tale storybook ending to life, right? Life doesn't go and look like you want it to look. And so God is still able to make life beautiful, right? But he does it in the way that he wants it to happen. And so when we're moving through life experiences teach us lessons. And so I had to take this route in my journey because there's something that he wants to teach me, obviously, right? He didn't want me to take this other route. And so that's all I have. That's all I have to go with. I have to just continue to trust that this is the right move for me. And I'm blessed to say I have a great village. I have parents and a brother and sister that have my back. I have amazing girlfriends. I have such a wealth of community of women that love and support me, and they're authentic. And I appreciate them. I love them. And so that alone helps me to make it through this process and to get through this process. And I just want God to be honored in this whole situation. And so, I want to be able to bless others in this space. That was something that was on my bucket list, that I wanted to be able to bless others. I wanted to host. I wanted to cook. And so now I have the space to do it. So that is super awesome. Never would have thought I would be buying a house doing those things, but that's something that, I did not see coming, and I'm grateful for that. So, that's pretty much the story as to why I bought a home in a pandemic, right? Totally unexpected, but that's kind of how God moves. Sometimes you don't have time to prepare. You just have to go and you have to do. And so that's pretty much what it is. The real, the raw, and the beautiful, right? And so now I want to just give you guys just an update on the More Movement crew and what we got going on. So I'm excited because we have rebranded, and you guys have probably seen on the Facebook and Instagram some of the things that we've done to rebrand. And we're starting this fall, we're going to kind of take a deeper dive into youth development and start working with some young people through coaching in different areas to help these young people to achieve their purpose and to discover their purpose. And so we'll be announcing some things coming up soon, probably within the next month or so, on when we will start that. But I'm excited. We got some new additions to the More Movement crew team. They are solid. I love them. And they're some really, really dope people. So we're going to work on being intentional about how we help young people develop and discover what they're called to do. So that is up next. And of course, more podcasts, more episodes. Who knows? I'm kind of not living in this daily life of being restrained or confined by what I normally do. So I'm trying to kind of get out of that and branch out of that because it's 2020, right? And there's nothing routine about this year. Like everything about this year has been absolutely crazy, right? There's been some blessings, but it has not been what we all had anticipated or predicted that it would be. And so I want, this whole experience, the podcast, all that stuff to be pretty unpredictable. So we're going to have some more guests on here, and we're going to do, some other episodes, I'm going to continue to encourage you guys. I feel like that is what God has called me to do, is to just encourage the people to, the things that I say on Facebook and Instagram, and when it comes to encouragement, are things that God has given me. And there are ways that God speaks to me. And so I just share the conversations that I have with God and what he gives me throughout the week. And so this, at the end of this episode, the message of encouragement that I want to give to you guys is look up. And so I was driving one day. I was going somewhere. I don't even know what I was doing. Oh, I was leaving Kroger. And I went to the gym, and then I was leaving Kroger. And so I was at the stop sign, or was it the stoplight? Anyway, I think it was the stoplight. And I looked up, and I never paid attention to the fact that Churchill Downs was so close to this Kroger. Like, I don't know where I had been. I had been to this Kroger plenty of times before, but I looked up, and it was a whole Churchill Downs just like sitting there. And I was like, wow, how did you miss that? And so when I drove away, God was speaking to me, and he was saying, you spend a lot of time looking down. You spend a lot of time looking behind you. You spend a lot of time looking, to the left or to the right, or just thinking about all the things that you got to get done. But you don't really look up a lot, right? You don't really look up to see what I've done, what I've created, the beauty in what I've done, and where I'm taking you, and looking up to my counsel, right, to my help. And I was like, wow. I was like, so many times that we're on like this go mode, and we're moving in our own spaces and silos, and we don't look up. We don't look up to see people that we probably should see on the street. We don't look up to see what God is saying. We don't look up. And so in a time where politically there is a war back and forth, this election is already starting to be pretty interesting. So, when we don't know what candidate, if we actually like these candidates, if we don't, we really don't like this one. So it's just, that part is difficult. The pandemic has its, the problems of its own, with people getting sick and people trying not to get sick. And then we have unemployment, right? We have police brutality. We have a corrupt justice system. And, we just have, a lot of problems in this city. And I'm speaking specifically to the city of Louisville. We have NTI, where kids are having to learn how to learn virtually. And that is difficult in itself, and has so many obstacles in itself. And so it's so much. We're losing important figures that mean a lot to us, especially those in the Black community. And so it has been a journey, right? 2020 is felt like for some people probably like 10 years, And so we have to look up. We have to look up, all right, to look up to where your help comes from. Just look up when you get discouraged or when you're busy moving about your day. So that was what God gave to me on my way back from Kroger. So that is all I have for this episode. It was pretty short, sweet, to the point. I want you to make sure that you check out the reaction video at the end of this YouTube episode, or if you're listening to Spotify or iTunes, go on over to the YouTube channel and check out my parents' reaction video, and you can see a little bit of the house. But until next time, be blessed. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like, share, all of that. But until we meet again, be blessed. Alrighty, guys. Here is the house. Go ahead.
Must have closed our eyes or something?
No, go ahead. Just walk through. I'm going to take y'all through. So this is the living room space. The kitchen.
I like the opening.
Now, Mom, go around that corner.
Oh wow, look at all these cabinets here. That's a lot of cabinet space.
Perfect size for you. You gonna need a stool.
Right. Then, this is the little
What's this little room for?
dining.
Oh, it'll be a dining room?
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of windows. Nice fixtures.
Yep.
Got you got that nice jacuzzi over there. Well, you moved on up. Hey, somebody left products up in here.
It's for the jacuzzi.
Ah,
All right, come on. So this is the master bed. So this is where I'm thinking I will move my stuff into because I want to be on the main floor. This is the bathroom. So it has a shower, has more cabinets.
nice. God, it's a lot of cabinet space.
Closet.
Ooh.
So my closet is kind of hidden.
Yeah. It's a shelf up there that you'll never reach.
Jokes, Dad, jokes.
Yeah.
Nice space.